Player 2 has joined the game.
Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the very first ever two-player co-op Friday show. Thank you guys so much for being here. As always, I'm one of your hosts here, Kevin, along with my brother from my mother's show.
How we doing?
Very good. Like we said, first ever Friday show. We've never done a Friday show before.
Totally different from anything else.
Totally different from the previously titled Quick Hits Edition. It's the same thing. This probably actually will be a quick hit, but
that's the idea.
So this is a Friday show. We just want, if you've never seen one before, basically, we've got the podcast. This is kind of a supplement to it where we just talk about a separate topic that we want to talk about, separate from the podcast. That's what we're going to do now. What are we talking about this week, Sean?
So we're going to talk a little bit about, as you called it, and I really like the title, Amnesia games. Games that we wish we could go back and play again for the first time. The first thing I think of is our good buddy Logan is currently going through Ocarina of Time for the first time. And it was funny because we were texting each other last night, I think, as he beat the Fire Temple.
He beat Volvagia, Volvagia, whatever you call it.
So he beat that, and I told him, I was like,
I
don't remember.
He was being a whiny little baby.
He was. Love you, Logan.
Shout out.
He said, how much he struggled with it, and I said, I don't remember struggling that much with it, but maybe I did my first time through.
Yeah.
And then I was like 19 years ago, which just blew my mind. It kind of got me thinking, like, one of the best games ever. I mean, it's in my top 3 easily. And that game, probably more than anything, I mean, even Breath of the Wild is going to be the same. But, I mean, those are my top 3 games of all time. And also kind of by default, I guess, they're the top 3 games. I wish I could go back and experience the excitement and joy and wonderment of being able to play and not know what was going to happen.
Yep.
Obviously, you're going to talk a lot about Metal Gear, and I think on your end, that's a lot of, I mean, obviously the games, the gameplay, whatever, but it's more story.
It's 95% the story.
Zelda doesn't really have the stories. It's just seeing this whole, I mean, I take that back. For whatever reason, Zelda 3, even though to me it's a perfect game, I don't know. I mean, I would love to be able to play that again for the first time, but for whatever reason, it seems lower on the list when compared to Ocarina and Breath of the Wild. And I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's just a 2D world and you don't get that feeling of, like, exploring or something. I don't know. But, I don't know. I mean, obviously my big games that I'd like to be able to play again for the first time would be Zelda, and yours are probably going to be Metal Gear.
Yeah, but before I talk about that, the other one that jumps out to me, and the reason I really wish I could go back and revisit it, is because I never got to play it through the first time the right way because it had already been spoiled for me, and that's The Last of Us.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I knew how it ended before I played it, and I'm not going to get into spoilers here if you haven't played it. I knew how it ended. What I didn't know was that emotional part at the beginning. Oh, but they spoiled that at the E3 when they said, here's the remaster editions coming to PS4. They showed that in the trailer, and everybody on Twitter was like, what the hell is wrong with you?
Oh, I'm glad I didn't see that.
Yeah,
God.
Why would you show that? So even when it happened, like, it still hit me, but not as much as, because I was like, when I was playing through that part, I'm like, oh, God, this is going to happen. Right, Are you kidding me? And then it made sense with him and Ellie and all that and why they became close. I'm like, okay, it all makes sense, but great, thanks for spoiling that.
Yeah, jeez.
So Last of Us is one that definitely jumps out at me, but the reason this is such a cool thing is, at least for Metal Gear, is like, and I wrote down when I took notes, I wrote down Metal Gear Solid 1 through 5 because it's really everyone. Metal Gear Solid 1, I've said on here a million times, I don't need to say it again, but it's why I still play video games. To me, it's probably the most important video game I ever played. But really, it's not really 1 so much that I wish I could go back and revisit. That was it would be revisiting that. That's when video games changed for me. So
right.
To experience that again, which I don't know if you can experience that again because all games are cinematic now and stuff. So it's like I don't know that you can really experience that again. But 2 through 5, I mean, you look at 2, and I'm going to get into some spoilers here because these games are literally, some of them are 15 years old. So just get over it. If you don't want to hear about Metal Gear spoilers, if you've never played any of the series, Well, I'll keep it as spoiler light as I can because everybody should play it. The twist of Metal Gear Solid 2, an hour into it, like, I want to experience that again. I want to experience that first when that happens, when you're in the oil field and all that, and you're like, what? Sounds different. I don't know what's going on here. And then the reveal, and you're like, what? Wait. Okay, so how long is this going to last?
Yeah.
And then when you see Iroquois Pliskin, and you're like, what? But isn't that... But that little bit, that 2 second where I just like, that's that whole game is, wait, what?
Yeah.
And especially the last 30 minutes of that game where everything falls apart and you're like, I have no idea what's happening anymore. This is like Psycho Mantis on a whole nother level. I Need Scissors 61 and the whole S3 and what is S3? What does it really mean? And all this other stuff, like, and it is as relevant as that game came out in 2001, and it was all about the control of digital information. And he who controls that controls the world. And you look at now with all the fake news stuff, and I'm not getting into politics one way or the other, but you talk about fake news on this side and that side, and everybody's got spin, and it's like you can just... Like you'll something horrible will happen and they'll jump on it. The media will report it and they'll get, like, a certain network will get, their version of it out first, and they control the message and everything. And then if that changes, they don't ever really talk about that because they're going to keep preaching what they believe on both sides of the aisle. So relevant. Metal Gear Solid 3, best ending to a video game of all time. I wish I could go back and and I've beaten that game, my God, 10 to 15 times probably. Like there's no way I would have to have the Men in Black to forget that
neuralizer.
Yeah. Just one of the best endings of all time. Metal Gear Solid 4, all the fan service. Like, I remember playing through that the first time, that 90-minute cutscene, which some people hated from Act 3 into Act 4.
Was it really that long?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Maybe it was 60 minutes. It was at least an hour straight of cutscenes.
God.
But that whole scene on the Volta River, I was like, this is amazing. And I still say that Act 3 sucks. That they completely, as bad as the gameplay is in that, when it's like a Gears of War game almost and not a Metal Gear game, the only real stealth section you get is that where you're walking around in a trench coat, basically. Like, you can walk around as Snake and stuff, but it's like, it's not fun.
Yeah.
Like, the only thing that might be worse than escort missions is tailing missions, where it's not an automatic fail, if you get seen. But
the stupid Korok siege and Zelda in the Lost Woods or whatever.
Yes, exactly. It's that. That's exactly what Act 3 is. Yeah. But all the fan service and the way the game ends, and when somebody comes back at the end, and I didn't not even that, when the credits are rolling. Do you remember how they did it? The credits are rolling and going through all the voice actors, and this is after, and you don't know what happened. And then they're like, Solid Snake, Otacon, blah, blah, blah. And then it says that name and the voice actor. I just went, like, I think my heart stopped for a second. They said, blank, blank, Richard Doyle. And I was like, what? And that was, Twitter was around in 2008, but it wasn't really, like, I didn't have that spoiled for me. I had no idea. Especially after playing through Metal Gear Solid 3, that meant so much more. And then you see that name come up and it went boom, boom, like they did the real dramatic music and it just stayed there on his name and all the other credits went away and you're like, what? What is about to happen? And then it happens and you're like, as a Metal Gear fan,
okay. I couldn't figure out what you were saying. I didn't realize that happened before you actually. Okay.
Then you have then you get the real ending to everything. And then you get the conversation between Snake and Otacon. And just like that, I think I might have I definitely teared up. I don't know if I cried at that, but it's just like Snake is like, he's getting his resolution and all this other stuff. And it's so well done. And then 5. 5 was the most built up game for me of all time. Going through all the trailers we had and all the theories and all the videos on the theories and this side versus that side and all that. And then finally getting to play the best playing Metal Gear by far of all time. Was it what Kojima wanted to make or not? We'll never really know. But then the twist in that one was great. Because it wasn't really what it wasn't. Gray Fox is not in the game. I'll just say that. But it made the earlier Metal Gear games make so much sense. Was it a crazy retcon? Yeah.
Yeah.
But it makes sense. I don't believe for a second Kojima planned that from the beginning. No way. Because there would have been mentions of that at some point in the lore, and there was nothing. If you go back and look at, do you remember Metal Gear Solid 4 had the Metal Gear Solid database that you could download? Where it's like an encyclopedia of all things Metal Gear. Nothing of that mentioned. Like nothing that even hinted at it.
Right.
So those are the ones that jump out at me. Other than that, it's Zelda 1 for sure. Just because that was the first time I was like, oh my God, this is just amazing.
Yeah.
But Zelda 3 isn't one that I'd be like, man, I wish I could go back and play that. And Ocarina, to me, I played it 20 years later, basically. So that
right, you
jump
only
out
just
at me.
played it
But
the first time a year ago. But
recently, Breath of the Wild.
yeah. The only other one that, for a completely different reason, that really stands out to me, and a game that I'm bummed, I'm truly bummed I will never experience it again the way I did the first time. Resident Evil 7.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think when I do play that game again, and it probably will be in the not too far off future, that game will still probably scare the crap out of me.
Yes.
But I know where all the jump scares now. I'll still be a little uneasy walking around the house because, I mean, I think every time you play that game, you're probably going to see Jack in different locations at different times. I mean, there's certain places where you'll always see him. But that game, plus knowing the way that the story ends and what all is going on, I'm not thrilled with, but I think I can kind of forget about that. I think I can put that away and just live in the moment playing through that again. But I don't know. I'm curious to see when I play that game again if it is as, or even as close to being as unsettling as it was that first time. Because now when I play Resident Evil, now granted I'm a 30-ish year old man now, not a, I don't know, 12-year-old, 13-year-old. I don't know when when I got that on Saturn, but
95.
So 11, 12, whatever.
Why were you playing that? You should not have been playing that game.
But that game at the time was the most terrifying thing I've ever experienced. And now when I go back and play it, I'm like, it's not that scary. I mean, it's not scary at all, really. 7 is terrifying.
7 is horrifying. Especially the first hour and the first 60, 75% of that game, I would say.
Yeah.
All in all, it's just so unsettling. And that PT, that's another one.
Yeah.
Where I don't remember every beat, but I still know when the radio is going to talk and when the fridge is going to start bleeding. And
See,
stuff
I first
like that.
heard about that game from a buddy of mine. This is back when we were in Connecticut. I can't remember how we got on the topic. We were just talking about just scary videos and stuff. And he mentioned this video, and it was this guy. I mean, there's probably been 1,000 of them by now, but somebody basically doing a Let's Play of it. And he was just talking about this game, and you just keep going through this hallway, and every time a little thing changes, and it's always a little bit different, and how terrifying it was. And I went and watched the video, not knowing this is even a game. I didn't even know what it was. And then I found out, oh, this is a game I could go and download. So I had watched this Let's Play before I got to play it.
Okay.
And it still scared the crap out of me. But I never, I guess, truly experienced that for the first time. But yeah, Resident Evil, I mean, just this year, I've already played 3 games probably with Horizon that I'm already kind of bummed I'm never going to be able to experience again for the first time.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild is one that really just jumps out at me because everything was so different. And that has, again, nothing to do with story because there's
It's just
story.
that it's this new, simultaneously empty, but not empty, beautiful world that's just, okay, go. You can go wherever you want. There are certain parts, obviously, where there's tougher enemies that you probably don't want to go there till later. But in theory, you can go anywhere you want in that world from the very beginning. And it's just so, I mean, not the very beginning, but.
Right.
And it's just this huge, huge, huge open world where you can literally go anywhere. You can climb any tree, climb any mountain, you can swim, it's insane. And I mean, to be honest with you, neither of us have come anywhere near exploring that whole game.
Oh,
so
God, no.
I feel like when I do play that again, I'll probably still discover new things and probably go
Yep.
places that I never got. Actually, I don't know if I'll ever start that game over.
I don't think I ever will. Like, I want to start Metal Gear Solid 5 over, but that's like, it's a big game. Like, I spent more hours in Metal Gear Solid 5, but it feels less overwhelming than Zelda does starting from scratch.
I feel like if I started Breath of the Wild again, I may not finish it. I may be like, this is cool. I like the exploring, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know that I ever play through that game again. I'll probably just keep playing from one save file and then just try to see
You could
the
always try
entire
hard
world.
mode.
Oh, God. There's no way.
Here's another question I want to ask you, because I just thought of this. Are there any games that you could play through again that you wouldn't really remember? Like, I thought for some reason, I thought of, and again, it usually comes back to story moments for me, but I thought of, like, Arkham Asylum was when I finally got to see Batman in a video game the way Batman should be.
Yeah.
And I think I could play through Arkham Asylum again, because I really only beat that game twice, and it's probably been 7 years now since I played it. I feel like I could play through that game again. Like, I know
A lot of the story and visuals and puzzles and fights and all that would be new to me, but you never get that true first experience again because you've seen it. You've seen, I now know what a Batman video game should be.
Right.
You'll never get to experience that again. But yeah, I don't remember a whole lot about that game. That's a game I would go back and play again, but
And I need to get the HD collection. I want to get that.
yeah.
The other game I thought of, Mortal Kombat. We'd
And
never
Street Fighter,
seen anything like that before. Yeah, so Street Fighter, like, if I could go back in time to that first time we played it in that restaurant in Texas when I picked Blanca and you picked Dallas or whatever it was, that I can remember the sense of awe we had playing that. But that was good. That was like the gameplay thing. But then you see Mortal Kombat, and the first time you see people getting their heads ripped off and
just
pulling
blood
beating hearts
and, like,
out and like
digitized
we're just
graphics
like,
that-
this is the best thing I've ever seen because we're little psychopaths or something.
Yeah.
You know, like that's one of those games like just to and maybe like GTA 3 or something like that. The first like real
Open world.
sandbox, like, wait,
Yeah.
I can do anything? Like I can just go do whatever I want. I can just, I can blow up whatever I want, put in a cheat code and just spawn helicopters and rocket launchers and get a 5-star and see how long I can last.
Yeah. I mean, now I'm just getting depressed.
Yeah. That's the thing. But that's why I think it's like, that's why this year has been so cool. Because like you said, there are 2 or 3 games like that this year that we wish we could play again. Like, and that gives me hope for the future, though, that there is still stuff out there that we're going to see in games, be it stories that we care about or whatever, or gameplay like Breath of the Wild, or both melded together with Horizon. We're still going to have those experiences where we're going to have video game experiences for the first time where we're like, this is awesome.
Right. Well, the other thing with Horizon, again, I don't know how it's all going to play out, but Horizon seems like the kind of game that I'm almost already looking forward to playing through it again because it doesn't seem super overwhelming.
No.
I will have already gotten the hang of the combat from the beginning. There won't be this big learning curve. And it seems like the kind of game that I would almost get more from the second playthrough because, like Breath of the Wild, there's no like crazy moment where you're like, wait, what? And then you want to go play it again and see if there's things you
was
missed.
something leading up to this. Yeah.
I feel like Horizon is going to be that. So I'm already I haven't even beaten it, but I'm already almost looking forward to going back and playing it again and seeing. I mean, I have no idea how it's going to end, but I feel like it's going to end in a way that there's going to be all these big reveals, and I'm just going to want to play through it again and see how did I miss this and what did I miss that should have or could have, given it away. So Horizon, yeah, you'll never get that experience of playing it again for the first time, but it'll certainly be different. Maybe not in a better way, but in some parts better. Some ways better than worse. The second time.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So if anybody out there has got the Men in Black neuralizer, go ahead and send it to Collierville, Tennessee. We appreciate that. That's what we think of our Amnesia games or games we wish we could play again for the first time. What are some of yours? Hit that comment section down there and let us know what you think. What games you wish you could play for the first time? Have you had any experiences like that this year? I think we kept them spoiler free for the recent experiences and stuff. But yeah, hit that comment section below. Let us know. Let us know what you think about the name Two Player Co-op Friday Show. If you got any other names or ideas, let us know. The idea is it's going to go up on Fridays, and that's why it's the Friday show.
I like it.
Not going to call it the Thursday show when it goes up on Fridays. What are we, Sean?
Not going to do it.
Not going to do it. Can't win with them. Can't do it. Hey, thank you guys so much for being here. Come on back for episode 81. But until that time, Sean, go ahead and take us out.
Thank you for playing.
Thank you, guys.